Now it's creeping up her elbow. So she fell and she camped here. Despair, but was chastised by the other version of herself in the mirror. What is that in the distance? And are we just at another part of the bridge? No, maybe even just below it. Was that the front gate? Can't see the light anymore. He's wielding a sword. It seems like he's fighting.
There it is. You're imagining things. It's not him. It's Dillian. He's gone. You were too slow. How could you? Keep going. How could you? Keep going. Ignore the pain. I told you it was to trick you. I told you. Where are you going? See, there's nothing to follow. Come on.
Yeah, if I push her too hard, she actually stumbles. But I wonder if that's the point. To catch him, do I have to... How much further can she continue? All these wrecked ships, but...
Before she first met him, she was not in a good place. Just a teenager, but not like the others. Barely functioning, she rarely left the house. Her father's in-bell made sure of that.
You can do it. You can do it.
Only occasionally did she venture out on her own, collecting firewood and herbs. Errands out in the Orkney Plains. That was her world. Like this one. Barren and lonely.
Are there any runes around here?
You're getting stronger.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, but... So her father kept her inside. Now, how did she meet Dillian? Ah, that in the distance looks like a formidable fortress. Is that where we ultimately need to go? Wait, is that him? Seems to be just beyond those stairs like they said. Wait, what's this? Is this a cavern? I know I could get to him if I go up there, but look at this. This looks important. Another face. Her mother's again?
Senua, there will be times that you will feel alone and exhausted, like a strange little fish swimming against the tides of the big ocean. But have the faith to let go and let the tide carry you away. Because the whole ocean is your home, and it does not ask you to swim against it.
The ocean is your home and you don't need to swim against it? Hmm. Still worried maybe there are runestones I'm missing. But that can't be helped, I just don't suppose. I don't seem to see any of them. So I'll pursue that spirit.
It's already disappeared.
Nothing lives here, not even you.
It's pointless.
It's in your mind. You think you can see it, but it's in your mind.
Wait, that tree in the distance. That's not going to be the world tree or something, is it?
Where's the tree?
There he was,
Where is he?
the lone figure of a boy.
He's there, under the tree.
Sword play under the shade of a tree.
See him? There he is. Come on, you have to.
She remembers the first time she saw him. To her young eyes, he moved as if dancing, and the world danced with him. The gloom lifted, and for the first time in years she felt a ray of hope.
So they met as children. She had gone out one day, gathering herbs, and found him practicing beneath a tree.
There's the tree.
Where is he?
He's there.
Where is he?
He's there, under the tree.
Light.
You can see him.
There he is.
Come on, you have to keep
Dillian is
going.
waiting for you. Keep going.
He's there.
Is this a rune pillar? Yes.
The Northmen tell of a great hero. His name is Sigmund. His father's hall was built around a great tree, and one day, Odin comes and thrusts a sword into the tree, a gift to whomever can release it. Many try, but the sword only comes out at Sigmund's touch.
I like the sword in the stone.
His brother-in-law, King Siggeir, wants it, but Sigmund refuses him, so King Siggeir plots revenge. He invites Sigmund and his brothers to a feast, but when they arrive, they are met with an army, not a warm welcome. King Siggeir captures Sigmund and his brothers, steals his coveted sword, and readies them for execution.
Ah, betrayal. And it's always family members, too. The evil uncles, evil step-parents, the evil in-laws, the evil siblings. I suppose then the betrayal is even more painful, more pointed, more impactful, because it's from someone that you're supposed to trust and love, as opposed to someone that you're already predisposed to despise. Oh, another rune stone. Or rune plank. I should say. I like saying runestone, but this is most definitely a wood plank. Or a wood, oh, what's the proper term? It's flotsam and jetsam? I believe so.
Death for Sigmund and his brothers seems certain. But the king's wife is Sigmund's sister, and she begs for mercy and implores the king to chain them up instead. He agrees. Not for mercy, though, but because he plans an even more cruel and lingering death. Chained to a tree in the forest that night, a she-wolf comes and devours one of Sigmund's brothers. She returns, ravenous, night after night, until only Sigmund is left. The next day, Sigmund's sister sends a servant with honey to smear on Sigmund's face. But to what end? Well, that night, when the she-wolf appears again, you'll never guess what happens.
What, she just licks it off his face? Aw. I was wondering, like, why would you put honey on someone? Wouldn't that make them even more delectable? Unless the wolf happens to be allergic to honey. You know how you can be allergic to bees and pollen and honey? Yeah. I really hope it's not one of those things where she lapped it off his face and was well fed for the night. It's just like, what? No. No, that would be weird. People say dogs dislike sweets. Eh, that makes sense. But I've seen dogs that really like bananas. Or other fruits. Wait, I thought bananas weren't supposed to be good for dogs. I don't know. I've never owned a dog. I've only ever babysat for other neighbors and family friends' dogs. And they mostly stuck with the dog treats and the other food. I think one friend fed carrots, or I don't know. It's peculiar. I just know that dogs, for the most part, like their wolf ancestors, would be carnivorous. Wait, is this another? Is this another two-part door that requires multiple things to be collected, or just defeated? Yeah, there's the tree. It looks like a bunch of men, and they've been rooted by the tree. There's the sword in the tree. Nah, I can't touch it, but I have to find another way to open it. There's no clue as to how to do so, though. Unless I reach the tree. Maybe? But it's so far. Ooh, frame rate. Well, that's pretty ornate. Yeah. Most of the dogs I took care of were Labradors. But there were also a number of, let's see, there was a Mastiff, Dachshunds, family had Schnauzers and Greyhounds and Poodles and... Anything I can do over here? No. Yeah, just a multitude of dogs. They were also very nice. I remember once we were eating at the family of one of the dogs that I would take care of, and the Mastiff, I think they had a second Mastiff at the time too, were immensely large, and we were trying to eat at the dinner table, and I usually don't like putting my napkin in my lap because I prefer to have it to wipe my nose. For some reason, my nose constantly runs whenever I eat. Oh, did I already get this one? Yes, I did. And so I always like to just dab my nose whenever I need to ensure that, I mean, I don't know if it's because of the spices or what, but my nose tends to run when I eat. And so, but that time I kept it on my lap. Because I was thinking, well, where is a dog gonna put their face if it's dinner time? And sure enough, the mastiffs, they would, it was so cute at the same time, but it was also pretty gross. They would put their entire head, and their heads were massive because, well, they were mastiffs, and mastiffs have enormous skulls. Ooh, rating. Wait, why are there so many feathers around here? I hope I'm not gonna face another terrible bird or seagull or something. Oh no, I can't go in there. So, they would lay their massive heads in our laps, and they were drool monsters. Just so much drool oozed out of their jowls, and it all fortunately went onto the napkin as opposed to my pants at the time. That would have been pretty gross, but they were adorable. They would put their heads there and they'd look up at you longingly, going, "Where's my food? Can you give me some of your food, please? Even a little bit of food?" And we'd be like, "No, sorry. Sorry, doggo. You can't have the food." Ooh, yes.
As the she-wolf licks the sweet honey from Sigmund's face, he bites the wolf's tongue.
Ah!
The she-wolf pulls away, but Sigmund holds on. The chains break, and he is free.
I knew it.
After his escape, Sigmund lives like us, hidden in the forest. His enemy, King Siggeir, believing him dead, as his sister plots revenge. And for vengeance to succeed, even the great Sigmund needs help. So she sends her sons to him. But their blood is weak and corrupted, and they're put to death by Sigmund. So his sister hatches a new plan, one that is cold of heart and pure of blood.
So I was right. The wolf was lapping the honey off of his face. Now, the one thing I couldn't anticipate was that he would use it as an opportunity to bite her tongue. Ew. Ah, gross. Now, what would be pure of blood to, say, slay your evil husband? I don't know. What kind of plan does she have hatched? I'm just gonna check every nook and cranny because I have not missed a lore thing yet. I want to ensure I have all of them. Nope, can't go on the rocks. Unfortunate. I would love a game where you can climb absolutely anything. That would be interesting. I suppose technically in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, they had so much exploration because of the gliding and a number of other things. Yep, people are mentioning Breath of the Wild, yeah. Yeah, you can climb most anything. I just didn't... I don't want to say it didn't feel quite like a Zelda game to me at times, but I grew up with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and the like. And I really liked the formula of having the immense dungeon and the dungeon bosses and such. And it was a little bit weird to me to have mini dungeons that were just really small, only encompassing the bodies of the 4 great beasts. Look at how immense these are. I think I've watched a number of documentaries on how Vikings and other ancient peoples built, well, ships and such. And it was actually really a complicated process to keeping the wood bent and drawing it out properly. And actually, the interesting thing is this is interesting. So the reason why these boats fared so well at sea was because see how all of these planks are parallel to one another and go the lengthwise of the ship? What they would actually do is they would twist and bend, and that allowed the whole boat to wiggle so that it wouldn't break apart in the waves and such, and possibly keep its balance better. It was really interesting. All right. So, I finally... unfortunately, having her injured means you're going at a snail's pace. But I suppose you wouldn't want to push yourself. Oh.
Day after day, watching from afar, she mimicked him, perfecting her own secret dance, wishing those fleeting moments of light would stretch out to last forever.
So, is that how she trained herself to be a warrior? Her father would surely disapprove of that. I hope it doesn't come to one of those situations where she actually slew her own father. I thought that her parents fell because of the... Oh, there's a runestone. Or rune plank.
Sigmund's sister trades shapes with a sorceress, and in disguise, she lies with her own brother.
Ew!
She gives birth to a son named Sinfjotli. After a time, she sends him to the forest to Sigmund. He tests the boy and finds him strong and fearless, and so they go to take their vengeance on King Siggeir. But luck is not on their side. They're captured, and Siggeir has them buried alive.
Ew! People are wondering what these legends are. Yeah, the whole incest thing? Why? It was because her first two sons couldn't successfully kill her husband, so she decides to have a child with her brother because her brother's strong and... okay. That... Ugh. Oh, there he is in the distance. Dillion. It must be odd going like, oh, that's Dillion's spear, that's Dillion's essence, and then you have, well, Dillion here? Ah, there's some kelp and seaweed. I was wondering where those were. Those things are really slimy and gross, though, if you ever touch them in person. I always wanted to find the especially big ones like these ones and just squeeze whatever those bulbs are that they have. I don't know, just call it a peculiar fascination.
The light. Follow the light. No. It's a trick. It's an illusion. It's not real. Do you really think it's real? You want to believe it's real, but it's a trick. You're deluded. Where are you going? Where is she going? What is she following? You can't even fight. It's just deception.
Oh. Is this the grassy field from her home? And the huts?
How does he so effortlessly court the world and bliss? If only she could do the same. See the world through eyes anew and dance with it, just like he does.
I know I could put her into a sprint, but I actually really like the fact that she just seems in awe at everything around her. and happy for once. All these flowers, petals and leaves in the air. Oh, there's even more in the distance. This is an immense tree with these roots and... Can I go around? No, there's invisible walls and cutscene.
What's your name?
Senua.
I haven't seen you before.
I don't leave home much.
Oh, Zenua's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait. Who taught you to fight like that?
No one.
No one?
Well, I watched you, and
You learnt all of that from watching me? You should become a warrior, you know.
me?
I'm Dillian. I'm here for the warrior trials. Just come and watch. And bring your sword.
You can't put it into words. That moment when you look into the eyes of the one who's supposed to reassure you, make you feel safe. It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are. But her world changed the day the Northmen took him from her. Senua knows that there's no going back to how things were. That there's nothing to go back to at all.
Stay still, stay quiet, hide, don't tell her.
Their gods can see into your mind. They will use this power to destroy you.
They won't stop me. I can still feel him.
Whatever's left of him, they will never let him go.
I'm not gonna let him rot here.
You're the one rotting here.
Leave me alone.
You will die here.
No.
And all your suffering will have been for nothing.
Shut up! Dillian? Is that you? I'll find you, my love. I promise.
I still wonder what that menacing voice is. The deep demonic one.
The light by the tree. Can you see him? You want to believe it. Is he not real? Is he there? You're alone in these mountains. Is that Dillian? Nothing lives here. You won't survive. You met him by the tree? She met him by the tree. Maybe it's a sign, the tree. What's he trying to tell you? He's waiting for you by the tree.
Wait, this isn't a rune spot? Did I miss it somehow, or does everything have to come back? Because I couldn't have possibly gotten here soon enough. Ah. I think something's gonna have to change about the environment before I can access that one. There are these roots. twisting in and out of the sand. Wait. Wait, is this a stone too? One that I can use, or... Wait, I know what these are. So, there was that large door, and it had the tree with the sword and the dead bodies. And there were 4 circles, one in each corner. These must be the 4 circles. But what do I have to put on them? And are there more? Oh, now this looks like a rune plank. Let me just get to it. And then I'll believe I'll have all the ones for this area. Nope, one more after this one.
As Sigmund and Sinfjotli are being buried alive, Sigmund's sister throws an armful of straw into the grave mound. Hidden in the straw is Sigmund's sword, the gift of Odin. They cut their way out of the grave mound and set fire to Siggeir's hall. The king burns to death. Sigmund calls to his sister to come out so that she may live and be honored. She does come out, but only to tell him the truth. That she had slept with him, her brother, to beget a strong avenger. I am not fit to live, she says, and walks back into the fire. Strike vengeance from your heart, Senua, as there is always a heavy price to pay.
So they hid the sword in straw? That's how they break out. And then, yeah, the sister kills herself because, well, I suppose even in those times they recognize that you don't do that with family. Oh, this is the final one.
And here is the end of Sigmund's story. He was a fierce and great warrior who fought many battles. But one day, an old man came onto the battlefield. Although shadowed by a hood, Sigmund saw that he only had one eye.
Odin.
The man raised his spear, and Sigmund struck at it with his sword, but the sword shattered into pieces. Sigmund then knew that this was Odin, and thus that victory could not be his. He bowed his head and accepted his end. Dying, he tells his wife that she is with child, and that her son will one day make a great weapon out of the fragments of his sword. The sword named Gram.
Gram? Like Graham? I wonder if that's where the name Graham came from. Or if that's how you get a gram, as in a measurement. Interesting. Yeah, so it seems like the roots stretch out to each of those points, but I have to activate the center, perhaps, in order to figure out what those discs need. Wait, are those skulls at its base? Ah, skulls. All in the roots. What is that? Just seems like more skulls in the depths. Do I have to dig through this? Or... it's the sword. The sword of legend?
Take it. A sword. Take it. Dillian left it for you. Take it. Take it. Take it. Don't take it.
imagine a sword that can slay gods? Its name is Gramr. It was forged by the god of all Northmen, Odin, and gifted to Sigmund, a great warrior.
I need this sword. It's important. Can you help me?
The sword appears whole, but it is an illusion. It shattered into shards long ago. It is said a great warrior can reforge Gramr by answering the trials of Odin, one for each shard. The roots of the Tree of Death will take you to new lands, where you will face the trials.
Go to the shards. Go to the shard.
Go to the shards.
What's the shard? Find it.
It's the metal runestones.
It's in front of you.
Find it.
The metal. The runes.
You need that sword.
Go to the shard.
Find the shards.
Okay. So, just like how the previous section of the game had the two gods that you had to fight and you had to go through their trials, this has 4. 4 different paths, 4 different runes. Okay. People are saying, hydrate! Yep, I have a water bottle and I have hot cocoa. I can have a little bit more of that. People are saying they estimate that this is about 50% of the way. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of gauge that from this, actually. Because I do have what looks to be 50% of all the runes. I don't believe I've missed any this far. Because I was right. Each of those dots punctuates a level. So I found all the ones in this ocean level, which means in the next one there's 4, and the next one there's 6. Really? 6? That one at the end looks really weird. 2, and then 6 again, and then 4. And I did hear that this game was, about 9 or so hours long, and I'm about halfway through it there. Once you complete a trial, there's no way to go back to get the forgotten runes. Okay, so that means whenever I go into these worlds, I have to make sure I find them before I complete their trials. But what are their trials?
Where is it?
Find it.
Is it a
There
battle?
is.
Focus.
There's the shard.
Is it a
Focus.
puzzle?
Focus.
Use your eyes. Look.
Get closer.
What can you see?
Go to it. It's
I
not
suppose
safe.
I can
Don't go near it.
Move closer.
only manage it.
Come on.
Find out what happens next.
It's in your mind.
You can see.
Do I see?
I want to tell you a story about a god of the Northmen called Balder. The second son of Odin. He was beautiful, good, and wise. He was fair of feature, he spoke fair words, he gave fair judgments. Light shone from him. Only good things were told of him. Yet he was the first of the gods to die.
Is this the one killed by Loki? With the pine arrow, I believe? Was this a good loading screen? I think so. We're elsewhere.